kindly informed me that it's actually called a Christmas wreath. And I was like, oh, Christmas wreath. Just like beloved actress Reese Witherspoon. It's great to be back on stage. I haven't been on a show since before quarantine, so it's really nice to be back here. Quarantine was pretty good for the most part. Just one little hiccup along the way. Actually happened pretty early on in quarantine. I went to order some Chinese food for my partner and I was surprised to find a police officer was at the door with our order. And I opened the door and I was like, hey, what's the problem, officer? And they said they saw the order and they were expecting to bust a gathering of 8 or more people. And I was like, no, officer, we're just 2 monsters living our best lives in quarantine. I actually moved to Halifax. It's been almost a year now. I love the city, love living here. It's really awesome. Moved from Ontario. Yeah, exactly. Something I noticed right away, like not a big problem at all, but I noticed there's not a lot of other Jewish people here, which again, totally fine. Like, it's all good. But I noticed it right away when the only other Jewish person I met owns a deli and has dated my mom. That's not even a joke, that's just facts. Yeah. Speaking of my parents, though, they're pretty proud of me doing comedy. They actually told me they were proud that I do stand-up, which is awesome. I sent my dad a recording of my last set, and he told me he was going to hang it up on the fridge. That's great. You know when you ask your parents something and you get really disappointed with the answer? Well, I was talking to my friend Ryan recently, and he told me that his parents told him that they named him Ryan because they said the root origin of the name in Gaelic means king and royalty. And I was like, whoa, that's fucking sick, that's badass. And I got really excited, and I was like, I wonder why my parents named me Cory. Like, I wonder what the origin of Cory is. So I called up my mom, and I was like, hey, how come you named me Cory? Like, what's the meaning behind that? And she told me it's actually a really great story. So I was like, oh boy, Cory story, here we go. And she told me she was at Costco, which is where most of her stories begin. It's standard Rhonda. And she told me she was in the coffee maker aisle, and she was looking at the coffee makers, and she noticed one brand of coffee makers called Cory Coffee Makers. And she said she realized at that moment that she really liked the name. And I realized at that moment that I was never going to tell anyone this story. Ryan's a king and I'm a fucking coffee maker. Fantastic. Yeah, where am I going with this next? Oh, yeah. 25, when I was 25, for the first 25 years of my life, I lived in one place, and then I moved into the city, then I met a girl, moved in with her, and then we moved across the country, where we are now. My point is, the first 25 years of my life, I lived in one place. But now, all this moving, and in that one place, I only had to memorize one postal code. But now, with all this moving, I had to memorize many postal codes. So it was pretty tough at first, but I did the natural thing that was quite effective, which was create mnemonic devices for all these postal codes, or as I like to call them, Rememberinies. So I'll give you a couple examples. Postal code in Halifax, B2P OJ1. So we live in Halifax, there's pizza places fucking everywhere. So to remember this one, it's just bring 2 pizzas, delivery place fucks up, I look at the box, oh, just 1, right? Start simple, B2P OJ1, easy as pie, right? I'll give you another example. So, in Toronto, my postal code was M5H 2S7, right? So that one's easy, just masturbate 5 hookers to satisfy 7. M5H 2S7, boom. And then, of course, my parents moved, so I had to remember their postal code, which was L4G 6J9. That one, of course, is lick 4 guys, 6 jizz, 9! Or if you don't speak German, that last one translated into lick 4 guys, 6 jizz, no? I don't know if you noticed, but in the last 2 examples, 2 extra people climaxed. I don't really know why that is, but that's for another day to explore. I'll finish up with one more joke here. So another thing I noticed when I turned 25 is, when I was a kid, I used to have dreams that were bonkers. Like, I could shoot fireballs, I could fly with my farts sometimes, and sometimes I could even grow humongous. It's like 5'8". But as an adult, I noticed my dreams really changed. Like, now, they're so fucking boring. I had a dream last night that I was going to outer space, but in 2 weeks. So the dream was just me living my normal life, doing taxes, going to work, teaching my dog English, like normal stuff. But in 2 weeks, I was going to space. And of course, I woke up at the part of the dream where it was the morning of my mission. And I lay there in bed really excited for a second, and then realized, oh man, I'm not going. So I just woke up, I fired up my Cory coffee maker, and started my day. Thank you guys, you've been great.